So Chris Hedges just wrote a piece. It's fantastic. It's Al Jazeera. We need new blood. Lebanese demand change. No, that's not about Lebanon. I looked that up afterwards. I don't know the title of the Chris Hedges article, but ultimately he's been talking about the same shit, the decline of the American empire for years. And he ended it off with, in Lebanon, they went ahead and kicked out their ruling class yesterday, August 10th, 2020. Today's August 11th. So happy August 11th, right? The ruling class of Lebanon resigned yesterday. The government resigned, and they said it's not enough. The explosion, killed a bunch and made hundreds of thousands homeless. So Chris Hedges ended the article by saying that we need to adopt the same slogan, Kuyan Yani Kuyan. Everybody means everybody. Everybody means everybody. When you say everybody has rights, everybody is supposed to be protected from crime and poverty and from the elements and random explosions and disease. Everybody means everybody. So that's there's a little little token for you, a little nugget for you. Now, August 11th, 2020, I'm still, I'm very much in despair when it comes to national politics. Tweedledee, Tweedledum for the last, my entire life. It's always been two crappy, right-wing, neoliberal assholes, pro-war, pro-big business, no universal health care, no war on poverty, no legalizing marijuana. Does the government really represent any of us? So anyways, I think we should actually probably get together and just surprise the guy, and we should all just write in Paul Rudd. Everybody loves Paul Rudd. Everybody loves him. We should just surprise him. Guess what, Paul Rudd? You're the new president. And really, when have we ever been given a decent choice for president in the two-party dictatorship duopoly? Some people want to say, well, what, you some sort of know-it-all? No, I'm a know-it finite. I'm a know-it finite. Ignorance is the key to wisdom. And some people want to, just sit there and tell me, if I say the sky is blue, they just want to contradict me. They just want to disagree with me. Why? Because you're so smart, you're so skeptical. No, because you're a disagreeable asshole. You're a selfish, disagreeable piece of shit. Really, right now, it would be courageous to agree with the things that you actually agree with. Yeah, I know, you hate this, you hate that, you don't like this. I get you. But we build a civilization, a society, a friendship, a relationship based on our commonalities, based on the things we have in common. So yeah, people, give me a 5, right? I once said, God, to, a random asshole. Like, the sky is blue, oh, it's slightly, light blue. I'm a person. It's like they want to just, here's my hand, right? You see 5 fingers? Is this 5 fingers? Oh, no, there's a thumb. So if I say, hey, give me a 5, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, give you a 5. Give you a 5? 5 what? 5 thumbs? 5 fingers? I don't understand. No, you're an asshole. You're a fucking asshole. Is this 5 fingers? Okay, is this 5 phalanges? Oh, okay, it's phalanges, but not fingers. It's like you don't want to build a relationship. Is that you don't want to actually communicate? Fine. And lastly, Lubu Day. Lubu Day. Lubu is a fantastic person, Chinese. Lubu, I don't know. It's not today, but just Lubu Days is, I love Lubu Day. It's probably one of my favorite holidays of all of the holidays that I have declared. Okay. That was fun. 8:37, August 11th, 2020. Today is August 11th. Do you understand? August 11th. This is another day of life. Another day of life. We haven't destroyed ourselves yet, right? The damn human race. We're somehow, in spite of ourselves, still here. So yeah, Lubu Day. Just want to mention that that's one of my favorite. Oh, good old Lubu. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, America. America. So, top 20 holidays. I'm going to mention just a couple honorable mentions. Then I'm going to go with the top 9, and then I'm going to read the rest of the 20. So the ones that just barely missed the cut in 1990, August 11th, Egypt and Morocco troops had landed in Saudi Arabia to prevent the Iraqi invasion. 1991, you had 400,000 people demonstrate for democracy in Madagascar. 31 people were killed. So this is how much Madagascarians love democracy. 1954, formal peace treaty ends 7 years of fighting in Indochina between the French and the communist Viet Minh. 1963, August 11th, 4 ANC political detainees escaped from Pretoria, a central prison in South Africa. Richard Meade was born August 11th, 1673, doctor who wrote about poisons and pandemics. And just briefly, August 11th in 2000, there was a man named Jonathan Burton. He's 19 years old, and he's just acting erratic and crazy on an airplane. They were going to Salt Lake City, Flight 1763 Southwest, 2000, before 9/11, and he just keeps on standing up and, you know, running to the cockpit and act like he was going to break in, and then he came back, and then he did it again, and he pushed the cockpit door in, and then the pilots were pushing him back, and then all the passengers jumped him and then just kept beating him, and then eventually beat him to death. His injuries, he's going to succumb to his injuries. I feel like pre-9/11, you might say there was some argument. Post-9/11, it's, yeah, that's, what would have happened if Jonathan Burton would have grabbed a hold of the plane? That's 100 dead people in the plane, you know, not to mention anybody he would hit on the ground. So, yeah, that's, so those are honorable mentions, but they didn't make the cut. So let's start with number 9. What are we going to celebrate today? What is worthy of celebration on August 11th? Well, Mountain Day, for one thing. Japan, they celebrate Mountain Day. I mean, there's so many holidays all throughout the world. There's Black Consciousness Day in Brazil, Mountain Day. And then there's also, you know, we got Mother's and Father's Day, but there's no Children's Day in America. There's Children's Day around the world. There's a whole bunch of shit, a whole bunch of holidays that it's like, hey, how come we don't celebrate mountains? How come America, you know, mountains, how many, you know, I've made it to the mountaintop. How many metaphors involve a mountain? 1989, Voyager 2 discovers 2 partial rings of Neptune. This is number 8. So we're going to celebrate mountains today. We're going to celebrate Voyager 2 discovering 2 partial rings of Neptune. 1989, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 are the only 2 space probes that have left the solar system. So Voyager 2 is a badass, 2 partial rings of Neptune, all fantastic stuff. 1989, that happened. Now, the 2012 is the world record. In 1984, there was another record set at that time, both August 11th. So the world record was a 4x100 relay race at the Olympics. So this could be the Olympic World Records Day, August 11th, 1984. Carl Lewis is going to duplicate Jesse Owens' 1936 feat by winning his 4th Olympic gold medal as part of the U.S. 4x100 relay team. And the world record was 37.83 seconds. So the team that Carl Lewis was on in 1984, they run this 4x100 meters, and they were the first team ever to break 38 seconds. How long does this, event last? Less than a minute. 38 seconds, right? And August 11th, 2012 is the current, I believe, the current record holder. The Jamaican team at the final 2012 London Olympics beat the 38 seconds mark with 36.84 seconds. So they beat 38 seconds. They beat 37 seconds. So the Jamaican bobsled team, no, the Jamaican running team, August 11th, 2012, ran the 4x100 relay race in under 37 seconds, making the world record. Okay, so that's good, right? Athletic feats of strength. This is that's the top, that's the best. Can you beat it? Can you beat the best? If you're not first, you're last, right? Ricky Bobby? If you're not first, you're last. 1960, Chad, the country of Chad, declares independence from France. This is a national holiday for Chad, the Independence Day. America, we got an Independence Day. And so independence is fantastic, especially when the entire 1900s, the 20th century is defined by colonial governments being overthrown, imperialist colonial governments being overthrown. So that's number 6. Number 6, Chad declares independence from France. Number 5, Steve Wozniak. He's born in 1950, August 11th, 1950. Who is Steve Wozniak? Well, he's the guy that worked with Steve Jobs to help co-found Apple Computer. Apple Macintosh, the iPhone, the iPod, the don't give a fuck. No, I'm just kidding. Steve Wozniak, right? He was born. I mean, the Microsoft, with the monopoly of Microsoft, if it wasn't for Apple, who could we champion that could, take down Goliath? Not David, no, but Apple. Maybe Apple Computer could do this. That's number 5. Number 4. Okay, we're getting closer and closer to, the number 1 celebration. 490 A.D. This is 490, right? Just about 500 years after Jesus was born. In Italy, and I wrote, a bunch of stuff on this, so give me a moment here. This is very important. The long story short, the Battle of Adda is between the Ostrogoths under Theodoric the Great and his ally Alaric II. They defeat the Kingdom of Italy, the forces of Flavius Odoacer, who is both Heruli and Skiri, which are the Germanic tribes of Odoacer. So he's a Germanic, right, barbarian, savage. Heruli and Skiri on the Adda River near Milan. So who gives a shit, right? So what? Theodoric the Great defeated Flavius Odoacer's army. So what? Who cares? Why am I even mentioning any of this? Well, long story short, Flavius Odoacer, he is, a soldier, patrician, statesman, but he's Germanic. And when Odoacer took over, that's what historians say that's the date of the end of the Western Roman Empire. So, actual Rome. There is no more Rome. Why? Because Odoacer is actually a German. And by the time 490 A.D. comes around, Odoacer, him being a German, all the Roman soldiers were Germans. And so the Germans had already infiltrated Rome. When Flavius Odoacer became, the emperor of whatever, the king of Italy, which he could also be, both of them are the king of Italy, the state, the boundaries of Italy, but both Theodoric the Great and Odoacer had a lot of Germanic support. So long story short, Odoacer conquered the Roman Empire. Odoacer, once he took power, the Western Roman Empire is no more. 490 A.D., is when Odoacer, the German that conquered the Roman Empire, is going to get overthrown by Theodoric the Great, the Ostrogoths, and his ally Alaric II. And then once Theodoric the Great defeats Odoacer, he becomes the king. He takes the kingdom of Italy for himself, and then he does a lot of things. So the deposing of a tyrant is a good thing, and then Theodoric the Great, the things that he saved all the Roman stuff and architecture and history and whatnot, but he also had a very ambitious buildings program. He was building walls and houses and churches and, buildings all over the place. So Theodoric the Great, king of the Ostrogoths and region of the Visigoths, the patrician of the Eastern Roman Empire, he was a ruler. Once he took over, he became the ruler of the combined Gothic realms, right? The Ostrogoths and the Visigoths, also Germanic tribes, just like the Franks and the Burgundians and the Heruli and the Skiri. So Odoacer is a Skiri. He certainly is, isn't he? That Skiri motherfucker. But Theodoric the Great is going to combine the Ostrogoths and the Visigoths, and as ruler of the combined Gothic realms, Theodoric controlled an empire stretching from the Atlantic Ocean to the Adriatic Sea. So, yeah, Theodoric, when he was a young child of an Ostrogoth nobleman, he's going to be taken hostage in Constantinople, and then he's going to spend his formative years being educated by the Romans. So both Theodoric the Great and Flavius Odoacer, eventually both of them are going to be Germans who work their ways up through the Roman military system. Last thing I want to mention about the 490 AD, the Battle of Adda. The Battle of Adda, right? The Battle of Adda. The Battle of Adda is when Theodoric the Great defeated Odoacer, and then Odoacer is going to get killed right after that. So what? What happens? Well, there's still Julius Nepos, and then the next one, and then Romulus Augustus. So if we're going to say that Odoacer is the end of the Western Roman Empire, then the last emperor is Romulus Augustus. He ruled for only less than a year, October 31st, 475 to September 4th, 476. And he was just a dumb little baby, right? A dumb little baby. He was only 15 years old. He lost the Roman Empire. Romulus Augustulus is probably the worst Roman emperor ever, right? 15 years old, in there for less than a year, and then when they kicked him out and told him to go live in Castellum Lucellanum in Campania, he was sent down in Italy, southern Italy, down to Campania to live. Then the Roman Empire was gone. There's a movie called The Last Legion, which talks about Augustulus, which means little Augustus, where he goes to Britain, and then he becomes the father to King Arthur. So I don't know if that's true. The Last Legion is that movie. As a proxy for his father, Romulus made no decisions, left no monuments, but there are coins that were printed with his name on them. And the coins were minted in Rome, Milan, Ravenna, and Gaul. So, yeah, several months after Orestes took power, a coalition of Heruli, Skirian, Tercelingi mercenaries, all Germanic tribes, right? The Heruli, Skirian, Tercelingi mercenaries demanded that he give them 1/3 of the land of Italy. Orestes refused. Orestes revolted. No, Odoacer. Okay, so this is kind of like with George Washington, when after the French and Indian War, instead of giving the land to the soldiers like he had promised, he kept all the land. So, he didn't get overthrown, so Orestes pulled George Washington, and then Odoacer overthrew Orestes, and then Odoacer is going to be elected king or emperor or whatever by his soldiers. So the Germanic generals had been the backbone of Rome for decades. Many of the soldiers were already German, so by the time Odoacer, rose to power, the Roman Empire had basically been fading away, whittling away to nothing, and then it was going to end. So the Battle of Adda is fantastic for just many reasons. There's so much to this. The end of the Roman Empire, the German aspect, Theodoric the Great, kings and queens. Did they have kings? Were they traditional kings and queens? And also, Odoacer had the support of the Roman Senate. And so it's kind of racist, actually, just to say the Roman Empire is gone. Why? Because we've got a bunch of Germans in the government. A bunch of damn Germans are in the government. The Roman Empire is gone because the Germans, isn't that what the Romans, they would adopt new people into isn't that what they were about? The Holy Roman Empire would carry on that bullshit legacy for, it ends, 500 AD? The Holy Roman Empire is going to dissolve in 1806. So for 1,500 years, 1,300 years, for 1,300 years, people went ahead and said, no, we're the Roman Empire. No, we're still carrying on. We're the last vestiges of the Roman Empire. That's what, for a long time they kept on doing that, even though it was all gone in 490 AD when the Holy Roman Empire, which is neither holy nor Roman nor an empire, was dissolved in 1806. People thought it was the apocalypse. It's the end of times. What? Rome has fallen? Rome fell 1,300 years ago, so you've been following a complete illusion that isn't even Roman. So that's number 4, right? That's major. Those that history, that changed the course of all human history. Roman Empire is no more, right? Empires come and go. Civilizations come and go. 1942. This is a fantastic story. So actress Hedy Lamarr, she's the Angelina Jolie of her day. She's a Jewish child born in Austria in the shadow of World War I. She's extraordinarily beautiful. Apparently, she's the inspiration for Catwoman and Snow White. Could that be? I don't know. Composer George Antheil and actress Hedy Lamarr, they receive a patent for a frequency-hopping spread spectrum, FHSS. That way it couldn't be hacked, it couldn't be jammed. They could send their torpedoes into the German U-boats without them jamming up the signal. Now this technology is going to be used for Bluetooth, GPS, and Wi-Fi. And it's not just like a tiny little thing. Her contribution, the Hedy Lamarr story, there's a documentary called Bombshell, the Hedy Lamarr story. They point out that her invention is a $30 billion invention if you were to assess its worth today. But she was an alien, so the government never gave her any credit, you know, which is kind of always. The U.S. Navy thought it was interesting. She developed it during World War II. They didn't use it for the World War II effort, but they did adopt it in 1957. So the U.S. Navy, the U.S. government went ahead and took Hedy Lamarr's invention, took her technology, took her ideas, gave her no credit whatsoever, and it's a $30 billion invention. So the whole idea, Howard Hughes gave her some tinkering equipment. She used this tech to synchronize random radio frequency between a transmitter and receiver, mobile phones, secure military. So apparently by frequency hopping, that's what it's frequency hopping. The frequency hopping goes to Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and GPS. Now, Hedy Lamarr, let's give her some credit. Not only did she invent this $30 billion invention, but Hedy Lamarr was a famous actress, Angelina Jolie, right? Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Her Ecstasy, 1933. Algiers, 1938. Boomtown. Comrade X, 1940. Comrade X sounds good. 1940, Come Live With Me, 1941, Ziegfeld Girl, 1942, Strange Woman, 1946, Dishonored Lady, 1947, her greatest success, Samson and Delilah, 1949. She also was in the movie The Female Animal, 1958, and that was her final film. So she was the one that actually told Howard Hughes how to invent an amphibian plane. And what she did was that she got a book on fish and a book on birds, found the fastest fish, found the fastest bird, and then slowly melded them together and said, build your plane just like nature has built the fish and the bird. So Hedy Lamarr, number 3, fantastic, right? It's almost like a Tesla, right? Did all this fantastic stuff, and you don't even know her. She's an actress. But actually, back in World War II, there were some people that suggested that she was a spy. Suggested that she was actually getting her information from the Nazis, and that's how come she knew all this stuff. Why? Because it's just, what, an actress? She's from Austria. She's Jewish, so she's, intelligent. Of course, she could have invented it. But a lot of people didn't believe it. What, Angelina Jolie? Angelina Jolie? She invented Wi-Fi? No, it must be the Nazis. She's working with the Nazis. Why? Because she's not American. She wasn't born in this country, so clearly. So that's the number 3 holiday. Number 2, 1877, Asaph Hall III discovers Mars moon Deimos. How much time? Good. Kicking ass on time today. So 1877, Asaph Hall. So Asaph Hall. Who is Asaph Hall? He's a guy, right, scientist or whatever, but he discovers Mars moon Deimos. He's also going to discover Phobos, but he's going to discover Deimos first. August 11th, 1877. So August 11th, 1877, 140 years before America's flat earth movement, started, this guy discovered the moon on Mars. So for the flat earthers, what do they say about the planets and the moons? It's all bullshit. They're telescopes and the science and those. 140 years ago, 104, that's the reason why it's a holiday. Like, okay, somebody, looked in a telescope and saw a moon, but in America there's such an anti-intellectual strand. Well, that sounds smart and educated. I'm going to go the opposite direction. That's what I'm going to do. That we have a flat earth movement. So anyways, science. Asaph Hall, he discovered Mars's moon, Deimos. Deimos, how are those moons, right? We got one moon. There's two moons of Mars. Deimos means thunder, dread, terror. So Deimos is the thunder, right? Phobos is the lightning. Their father is Aries, and their mother is Aphrodite. So really that's who Deimos and Phobos are. They're the children of Aries and Aphrodite, and so they're kind of just satellites for Aries. They're just client, people for Aries. So Aries is god of war? I'm not for sure. But, yeah, and the name Iliad, it comes from the name Iliad. Asaph Hall is the one that's going to name Deimos. He discovered it, so he named it. He could have named it after himself. Instead, he went with the whole Roman god thing. Deimos is the smaller and outermost moon of Mars. And, yeah, Phobos and Deimos are twin brothers. And it's not just dread, but dread and terror in battle. Fear. Phobos is fear in battle. So that's how they create disorder in wartime. So, yeah, Deimos and Phobos goes to the enemy army, gives them dread, gives them fear with thunder and lightning. So, yeah, 77, August 11th. The moon of Mars, Deimos, is discovered by Asaph Hall. Now, the number one of the holiday for August 11th is a combination of a bunch. They're World War II victories. You know what? There's actually something else I want to mention, and I'm not sure why they didn't get in. And the honorable mentions, I just read the top of this. But Cheech and Chong Day. Wasn't there Cheech and Chong Day? What happened to Cheech and Chong Day? Did it get deleted somehow? Cheech and Chong Day? Cheech and Chong Day and some other things? Okay. Yeah, Cheech and Chong. Warriors of Marijuana. Oh, that's number 18. Okay. The number one holiday is World War II victories. When it comes to history, this is Diderot said of Voltaire that he doesn't just teach people history so they remember the facts and the dates and the small tiny thing. It's kind of like Maya Angelou too. Maya Angelou says they'll forget the details, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And so, with that in mind, World War II victories, Diderot said of Voltaire, the reason why he teaches them not just to forget the facts or whatever, because that doesn't make sense. The whole point of teaching history for Diderot, when he describes Voltaire, is to teach the people a hatred of ignorance and hypocrisy and tyranny and superstition and lies. So fuck your lies, fuck your ignorance, fuck your superstition, fuck your tyranny, and fuck your ignorance. Fuck your ignorance, your tyranny, lies. Yeah, you don't have to be ignorant, you can learn stuff. We're all ignorant in some ways, but if you're able to learn, then why wouldn't you? Knowledge is power. Well, I don't want that knowledge. That knowledge is not power. You'd rather be dumb and ignorant? People say education is expensive. If you ever tried ignorance, that's expensive, not just in your pocketbook, but that's just expensive for life. I'd rather not know stuff. Nah, ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. So, no, just like Diderot on Voltaire, the whole point of learning history, because actually there is no past or future. There's only the present. And so the future, our thoughts of the future and our thoughts of the past only go to our present. And so when it comes to why Voltaire taught it wasn't about the details, this thing happened and you better understand because I'm telling you, no, I'm telling you this thing because tyranny is bullshit. Lots of tyrants get deposed, just like civilizations, tyrants come and go. Civilizations and empires come and go. So for one asshole to think that they're going to be around forever, it's never happened throughout history. Fuck superstition, the religious bullshit. When people don't know what's going on, they just make shit up because they need comfort. They need to grab onto something. Ignorance, not knowing that you should be, knowledge, lies. How can I, believe